Watch the video and let me know what your comments are. Do you think that Luigi was a villain, an evil person to take the life of somebody in broad daylight, knowing that, because he did his research, that this man has family, he has a wife and children? Why would he do such a thing? Or do you think he was mentally ill, that he had other things happening in his life and that made him snap? Do you think that the society waits too long to intervene? Because I am sure, or I'm not sure, but I am guessing that Luigi Mangione must have tried to discuss these issues with the United Healthcare Insurance representatives, or talked with his parents about his disappointment, or other people, how disappointed he was with the system that he sees as greedy.
Influential, Laura. You really can't overstate it. The Mangione family, very powerful. I mean, they own this country club behind me and a series of very high-end houses that are within the grounds of this country club. We're excluded from even going in there. There's security all over this place. It's keeping us out of that vicinity. So that's just kind of one example of their power and influence here. But also, we spoke to an attorney, Thomas Moronic Jr., who is an attorney here, but he's also, more pertinently, he was a radio talk show host at WCBM radio. That's an AM radio station, a very conservative radio talk show station. He hosted a show there for 20 years. This is a station owned by the Mangione family, and he talked about how powerful and influential they are.
Mangione family is one of the prominent families of Baltimore County. They own a lot of real estate, they own golf courses. They're just a very well-respected name, and they treated me incredibly well during my time at WCBM.
This story we'll be looking at is of international interest because of the subject matter of healthcare insurance. What will make a 26-year-old young man who comes from an affluent family? His family is reportedly very wealthy. They own a recreational club, they own a radio station, they own real estate and more. And their son went to an Ivy League school. He was, in fact, the class valedictorian during his period. What will make such a man, soft-spoken, 26-year-old, who his classmates describe as gentle, quiet, intelligent, and very stimulating during conversations? What will make such a young man snap, that he will take the life of another person, a family man, Brian Thompson, while his back was turned on the gunman? What will make him plan? Because it shows that he did take his time to plan, because the report said that he didn't want to use a bomb so that he did not kill other innocent bystanders. So he planned to use his gun so that he can get his target. So that means that it was premeditated, but the court will decide all of that. He has been apprehended. He was caught at a McDonald's having something to eat in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That McDonald's has had a lot of attacks since then, because people seem to call them snitches. But it was another customer who whistled. He was having his own food with his friend, and he told that friend, that looks like the gunman that they are looking for in the news. And the other said, are you sure? He said, it looks like him. And so because of course the gunman had to take off his mask so that he can eat, so he told, the whistleblower told the employee at the Altoona, Pennsylvania McDonald's, and that's how the police got there. When the police came, they asked Luigi Mangione, who is the alleged gunman, they asked him to see his ID, and he gave them a fake ID. Then a police officer who has only been in the police force like 6 months asked Luigi, have you been in New York City lately? And then Luigi started to tremble. He started having that nervous. He became nervous and was just visibly shaking. So I think that was a sign that, triggered the next steps, and they took him, into custody.
He needs to worry about that. To Joey's point, though, that's what doesn't make sense of this whole puzzle. This kid,
That's the one thing?
well, there's a lot of them, but this kid's got the money. And the right family owns country clubs. I could see someone having the motivation who needs that back surgery, who's in agonizing pain. And look, back pain is maybe the worst pain. And he can't get it because insurance denies him. He doesn't have family money. So he's living in pain and now he's going to get revenge. This is the valedictorian, University of Pennsylvania. He's got his whole world in front of him, his whole life in front of him. And he had the operation.
But before you say that, I heard this conversation. In fact, I was hearing it throughout the day. People were saying, well, if he had the money and he could do it, then why would he be the person who would feel as though he was entitled, and I'm using that term lightly, to do so? But then they're talking about the access to the system more broadly, even having the funding and being denied. And all of this goes into the why him? Are investigators focusing on that part, or are they focusing on how? How did you elude capture for 5 days? How did you end up in Pennsylvania? Where were you? Who were you on the phone with? Did you have help? Who gave you $8,000?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's no doubt that this was methodically planned out. Right? We're seeing that in the documents that have already been found in his backpack, amongst other things. He took great lengths to conceal his identity and did it pretty well. There was a debate that was going on in the beginning of this, whether he was a professional hitman versus someone who had some sort of grievance against United Healthcare or the CEO. And I wasn't leaning on the hitman part because a professional hitman would have been a ghost. You never would have saw this guy, either coming to or leaving the scene, and wouldn't have left behind a treasure trove of evidence. So that's one thing. Clearly, he thought about this quite a bit, and at some point, he is more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs than we can imagine, because he snapped. Something about this kid snapped. He's a smart kid, very well read and whatnot, but something either about his back operation, something about having to deal with the insurance company, maybe other people joining in saying, you know what, I had a problem with that insurance company too. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who hasn't had an issue with an insurance company.
But
right?
to take it to this
Yeah,
level,
to escalate it to where you're going to take out the C-suite.
To be clear, right, the why is for our conversation. For the prosecution, they got to prove the case. They got to prove what happened when he did it.
The gunman did something that was morally wrong by taking the life of another individual. Doesn't matter if it's a regular person or a CEO. He shouldn't have taken the life of another person. If he had injured the man, which is also wrong, or perhaps the problem, the gravity of what trouble he's in now will not be as bad, but he took his life. He didn't have to shoot him repeatedly until the man died. He could have confronted him and say, I want to have a word with you. I am sure if they had a conversation, the CEO would have been humane enough to listen to his complaint, but he took his life. And that is very painful. But I sitting on this side, that I've been on the chair where I was denied over and over again, and even up till now, I can't just get up and say, I want to do certain procedures because I know that I cannot afford it. I will say that I totally could understand where he was coming from. What do you think, you viewers? Do you think that Luigimangione, the 26-year-old who took the life of the CEO of United Healthcare, do you think he is a villain or he is a hero? Because most people see him as a martyr, that he has paved way to more positive outcomes in the healthcare industry going forward, because a lot of healthcare industries, they are adjusting the way that they approve or deny healthcare, to individuals. So in a way, he had done some good, but is that sufficient? Should he be locked up for life or face, the ultimate penalty? Let me know what you think. And thank you for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please click a like, share it with everyone, and remember to subscribe. The handle is Image Diva Media. Thank you for watching. My name is Melissa.
Looking at handwritten pages of a spiral notebook that Mangione kept. They say it includes a to-do list of tasks that need to be completed to carry out a killing. He writes about the Unabomber, saying using a bomb could, quote, kill innocents, and that a shooting would be more targeted. He also muses about what could be better than to, quote, kill the CEO at his own bean counting conference. But police are also honing in on this. A potential back injury Mangione may have suffered in July of 2023. He posted an image online of an x-ray showing the aftermath of a spinal surgery. Did he run into problems with the health insurance industry or the health insurance more broadly? That's what police want to know. And what we do know is that Mangione dropped off the grid about 6 months ago or so. Friends were looking for him. His family was too. The New York Times reports his own mother filed a missing persons report in San Francisco back on November 18th, just 6 days before he showed up here in New York City.